When Jake Paul first burst onto the boxing scene, it was easy to think that the man wouldn't be around long. Easy to think that this would be another situation where it was somebody just crossing over with a whole bunch of appeal and he was going to fight one, maybe two big fights, try to cash out quick, and we weren't going to hear from him anymore. But lo and behold, man, all these years later, not only is he still around fighting, not only is he still around making waves, throwing his hands around in the ring, but he's building his promotional company up. You know, he started the promotional company, he signed some fighters, but the only time we saw him in action was when he himself was fighting. But now he's branching out. Now all of a sudden we see him signing this deal with DAZN. He's got this 4-fight deal, most valuable promotions, and he's got the most valuable prospects, right? So it's a 4-fight deal. We get 4 separate cards, all packed full of young guys. And this first one that we saw tonight was kind of like the highlight reels, kind of set up all for the main event, Ashton Sylve. And there's reason that they are making this dude a main event. He's only like 9-0 going into this fight, or 8-0 with 8 KOs. This one made it 9-0 with 8 KOs, went the distance for the first time. Only 8 rounds, the distance nevertheless. But wow, what a young talent, man. What a young talent. Comes out of the amateur ranks, had something like 120 fights, won 10 national titles, some international tournaments, definitely had the talent to make it to the to try for the Olympics. You have to figure he would have been a favorite to make it to the Olympic team at his weight class, but instead decided to turn pro down in Mexico at 16 years old. Not the first time we've seen it. Probably one of the most recent people with the biggest level of success is Devin Haney. He went that same route. So Ashton Sylve is still young, 19, but he turns pro at 16, then comes up here, starts fighting at 18. Had some people trying to get him. One of those people being Floyd Mayweather, right? Wanting to sign him as the promoter. Ends up going with Jake Paul. Was initially scheduled to fight on some of his other cards, but he's been with Paul for about a year now. Ends up getting this platform here to fight on. Dude, he looks good. You know, one of the things that you think about when you see young fighters is, you know, that for the most part, when they're prospects, that the caliber of Sylve is, when they've had the amateur career to the length and the success that Sylve has. You know, when they come out earlier in their career, that they're going to be heavy favorites, that they're out here and they're just blowing these dudes out. That when they're in the pro ranks, it's to build themselves up, right? Build up to kind of the pro style, build up to the bright lights, get used to fighting in front of maybe bigger audiences, getting used to fighting a different style, getting used to the cardio once they start building the rounds up. All of those types of things, that's really what it's about. But when we're looking at the actual skill level, when we're looking at who they're up against, we expect these dudes to go out there and just smash them. You know, eventually over time, they get worked up slowly. I mean, it's not like the average guy that we see coming out like Vasily Lomachenko, where he's fighting for a world title in his second fight against a super grizzled veteran like Salido. That's not the average story, right? Even a guy like, look at Floyd Mayweather. What did he fight? Incredibly talented, right? Prodigy, incredible prospect. And he didn't even fight for a world title until what? Like his 18th fight? And that was considered super early when he went out there and fought Gennaro Hernandez. Highly underrated fight, by the way. You know, but we got Sylve out here. And the thing is, when you're looking at these young guys, like I was saying, you expect them to look very good. You expect them to blow out their opposition, but you want to see how they do it. It's the little things that you want to watch, because that's going to tell you what they need to work on. It's going to give you a little bit of insight in how they're looking at things and how long it may take for them to develop. And one of the big things is patience. You know that he's got the talent and the skill, the power, the speed, the athletic ability, whatever, to come out here and blow out a lot of these early fighters. But you're not going to be able to do that all the time. As the level of competition increases, you're going to run into some stiff competition. How are you going to handle that? Do you get discouraged easily? Do you know how to make adjustments? Do you know how to be patient and keep doing exactly what you're doing now because you're seeing success, but you're not able to go out there and wow the crowd and just make everybody ooh and ah? Besides the patience, one of the big things that I look at is, how do you control the distance? Controlling the distance is so incredibly important when you're fighting. It makes so much difference, right? You can have a great offense, but if you can't control the distance and you're too far on the outside, if you can't control the distance and you're smothering your work, you're not going to be able to get anything done. You've got great reflexes, but you can't control the distance and you let the other guy get too close so he's able to get his shots off, right? Just two quick, super easy examples. You need to be able to control the distance if you're going to fight at the highest levels. You have to understand how to control that gap. I love the way Sylve did it. He mixed the patience with the ability to control the distance, so he was never smothering his work. He was keeping his opponent on the end of his shots. He looked great. Dude, he's got this style. You can tell he's a natural counterpuncher. He's going out there, but he's applying pressure. He's cutting off the ring. He's staying right in front of his guy, but he's making him miss. He's catching shots. He's using a tremendous amount of head and upper body movement. He's using feints. He's putting just physical and mental pressure on his opponent all the time, but he doesn't have a super high work rate. He's working just enough and leading just enough to score points. But really, it's all about setting up those counter punches, man. As soon as his guy's coming back, he's trying to land quick, hard, sharp counters. He's going to the body well, which again just shows a good ring IQ. Loved everything we saw from him. Only went, he went the distance. It was only 8 rounds, but it's a step-up fight, right? These are the type of things we see. There's a reason this guy was named Prospect of the Year. Like, he looks very good. Now, look, we're at 140 pounds. It's easy thinking about 140 pounds when we look at the top of the division to see the talent we're dealing with, right? We're talking about Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Regis Prograis, Ryan Garcia. Just the list goes on and on about with these guys and the amount of talent that they have. We're probably going to see Devin Haney move up very quickly. Eventually, we'll see Shakur Stevenson up there. I'm not suggesting that we should be talking about Ashton Sylve and that level of competition just yet, mentioning him among those names. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be very interested. I'm going to pay close attention because I'm going to see where this guy is in about 2 to 3 years. He's young. He's only 19 years old. But if he's continuing on the path that he is, he's working with the promoter who's got the connections, and he's going to be able to make aggressive moves like I imagine Jake Paul will. Dude, the sky's the limit. The trainer keeps working with him. He keeps continuing to develop. Like, I loved what I saw tonight. Highly talented. I'll be interested to see what's next. What did you guys think? Obviously, we expected him to go out there and win. This dude I expected him to go out there and win whoever they put him against, but then on top of it, we got the opponent taking the fight on short notice. But what did you guys think when you passed the eye test? What did you think about what you saw? What do you think about what's going to be next for him? He's got good size for the division at 19. You got to figure he's going to be able to make weight for a while. So were you impressed with it? Do you want to see what's next? You're going to be keeping your eyes out for him, or is he maybe a little bit overhyped? Maybe he's going to run into some stiffer competition and all of a sudden he's going to fall apart and it's not going to look that good. Let me know what you guys think.